honored to interview Mr. Groot today is because he was actually my principal. So I did my articles of clerkship under Ben for a period of 2 years, and I was admitted because of my 2 years of articles here at GBS Law. But that was just a side note, a bit more about
And
Ben.
we were there at the admission. It was a good day.
Yes, it was a good day as well. More about Ben, actually. Ben is currently sitting as a commissioner at the Small Claims Court. Ben is also an approved arbitrator by AFSA, which is the Arbitration Foundation of South Africa, and the Western Cape Legal Practice Council as well. And then previously, I don't know if you do it anymore, Ben.
No.
You did the management courses. Yeah. Which was a compulsory level management course for attorneys that want to practice at management level.
Yep, exactly. Okay. Yeah. That was also at some stage, way back when, but yeah.
So that's interesting. Okay, so you actually taught for...
Yeah, I taught HR for a while, weirdly enough. Legal practice HR and legal practice marketing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's just a brief overview about you. Obviously, we're going to get to know a bit more about you now. So I'm just going to dive right into
You're
it.
welcome.
If it's fine.
Yeah, welcome.
I know this is about 22 years ago now, since after you studied law.
Yeah, it's 22 years since my admission. Yeah.
So 22 years since your admission. So
that's a long time.
I don't know if you're going to remember. But my first question is, why did you study law?
Because I didn't have enough brain cells to study anything else, like this difficult things like medicine and engineering. I didn't have sufficient marks either, so I didn't excel at school. But
really,
more of my own doing than what boy does well at school in any event. So no, it was one of those things that my parents had me tested. I was still standard 9 that time, grade 11, to find out whether there is any aptitude and if so what. And it came back, interestingly enough, to say law, business, or journalism. I was like, okay, that's very far apart. And then I had to think about it and considered it and so on, and then I decided probably best to combine law and business. Probably, and if you don't like the law or the business, you can then go across to the other one. So I started off with a BCom law, and in my first year, the maths and the accountancy myself weren't that good friends. So I decided to from my second year switch over to full BProc, which you can still do at that time. That was at that time you did the postgrad LLB. When we were about halfway, just past halfway, they brought in the undergrad LLB, and we had a choice which one we wanted to do, and I said, well, it's going to take me the same time. I can just as well 2 degrees than one. So I did the BProc LLB. Yeah. Okay. But looking back now, I can see the interest from a younger age. I like reading and.
Yeah, because you love reading. Because of you, because of you essentially.
So and I like books and so on. But when I was, I think, still in primary school, those days you had Reader's Digest, that little magazine came out every month, and they had lots of books that came out. And my parents had the Reader's Digest guide to the law in South Africa, like an encyclopedia. It was about this thick A4 type size pages, and when I was bored, I paged through it and read here and there, and like, what does a 10-year-old understand? But looking back, that's probably where it started, because there were interesting cases in there.
So if you could go back and maybe improve your marks, would you then choose to study medicine? I need to know, because you said there was an aptitude test. So would you maybe then go back and study medicine or engineering, or would you stick to law?
Probably not. No.
Taking into account where you are now.
Yeah, no, I must say, looking back, it was definitely on the right path, definitely the right decisions. I don't want to do any career training outside of law. No.
Okay.
Sometimes law is frustrating, but I mean, I don't want anything else.
Jobs probably come with it.
Yeah, with their fair share of issues. But No, I can't see myself being in medicine or in
Engineering.
even worse, engineering. So yeah, I'll leave that to the clever people.
And you
But
spoke
yeah.
about an aptitude test. Do you think like there should be a specific personality type for somebody who wants to study law?
No, I don't think so. I think whatever your personality is, you can make a success of it. So if I just think of our firm where we are 4 directors with 4 vastly different personalities, I'm the introvert, and some of the other directors are much more extroverted, and we all have our specific role to play in the firm. So where I have my shortcomings, they pick it up, and vice versa. So no, I think whatever your personality type is, you can make a successful law. I think it's more what you do with your qualities and your strengths and weaknesses and so on. How you deal with that. That I think is much more determinative of hopefully success or not.
Okay.
So,
Okay. So
yeah, but I think
anybody, we don't need a specific
no,
personality type.
no. I mean, I've worked with attorneys who never have guessed they would be an attorney, but yeah, and they make a success out of it. So yeah, because I think the legal field is so vast, you can't
The
pin it
different
down
types
to
of law.
yeah, exactly
And so
that.
you
Yeah,
can't pin it down
yeah,
to one personality type.
yeah.
And then, so for the high school students and the undergrads now, I know it's a bit of a mixture of a question because you have different subjects, but if you could think back, or maybe if you know, if you have knowledge as to what a high school student should focus on and the undergraduate should focus on if they do want to become a legal practitioner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say languages are very important. I've had so many examples in my life in my working life, where a matter in the end it boiled down to a word here or a word there. Um, and I think having a feeling for languages or a bit of an aptitude for languages, I think, is advantageous. So if you're at school, work hard, Afrikaans, English.
Both languages or
Yeah,
language subjects.
yeah. So I think obviously English these days more because that's the language of the courts. So if English is your second language, then you have to work, I think, so much harder to make sure that you really understand the language and the structure and especially when you get into interpretation, because whether you interpret a statute, whether you interpret a contract, the rules of interpretation start with grammar. And I think it sometimes makes it a bit more difficult, but one also gets used to it over time. I think it's daunting when you start.
Because you studied in Afrikaans.
Yeah, studied in Afrikaans, and the first couple of weeks were difficult, and from there, it becomes second nature. So so I think that one of the things is focus on specifically English. I would say
Ben did correct my English a lot. I had to check, even after I checked my letters 4 times. I would take it to him to sign off. I'm like,
and the spelling errors.
I'd be like, there's no way there's a spelling mistake. Then there would be a comma missing somewhere. Grammar is important.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
So I think if you're still at school and you can move over whatever your home language is, move over to English home language. I think that is a good thing if you can do it. But then I would also say, for the languages, I would say if you can do accountancy somewhere, I think it will assist quite a bit.
Because we run a bar exam.
With
yes, and I didn't know
exam.
So I was one of the unlucky ones that didn't know that for our admission exams, we have to write an accounting bar exam. I didn't do accounting in high school nor in varsity, so I had to do it from scratch.
Yeah.
It was difficult.
It's difficult, yeah. I also didn't do accounts at high school. When I started off with the BCom, I did accounts 1 and I very nearly didn't make it. So when I did paper 2, I think, on the admission exams, I think paper 2 is accounts.
That's Walden.
Yeah, 4. Paper 4.
4
is
I just wanted, I didn't know, maybe it was different back then.
No, it's all the same.
Okay.
Paper 4, and the whole paper is only accounts. So you need to be
No.
able to draw up, and then also if you run your own practice, you need to understand the basic principles. Even if you have a bookkeeper, if you have your own firm, as owner of the firm, you're liable for whatever happens on the trust account. If there's a
Yeah.
shortage on the trust account, you can't blame the bookkeeper. You're the one being struck off the roll. So
That is the truth.
that's why you need to make sure that you understand what's happening in the trust account.
And that's why you let your candidate attorneys also do billing in the
Yeah.
second year, I'm assuming, so
Yeah.
they understand how the numbers work.
Exactly that. Yeah.
I mean,
And I think the important thing, and I know I've said it to you, and I've said it to the other candidate attorneys
Yeah.
also, the day you leave here, you should be able to open up your own firm. Yeah, we should help you, give you the tools so that when you leave here, that you are able to
yeah,
run a
I
firm.
think you gave me all the tools. I just but
Yeah, whether it's a good thing,
Yeah,
too,
it
that's
was
a separate
not.
question.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the if you can at school
So
get
you
some
reach that
experience
down.
on accountants, that will be good. And even just business management. I'm not quite sure what the subject are called at school these days, but
Yeah,
I mean,
don't know if it's economics or
yeah,
EMS.
the business management, those type of things. And then Afrikaans to talk about EBV.
Yeah, EMS, I thought
Yeah.
it was, but I don't know if they still have it.
Yeah. So if you can do something like that, just with basic management principles, that I think will also be advantageous.
And history, just as or not for essay writing, or is that not a requirement?
No, I don't think you have to have a golden thread to your argument, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't have history in matric, so I can't really give a good opinion on that,
Advice on that.
whether
Okay.
it's good or not.
A golden thread
Yeah.
in your argument. Okay.
Yeah.
And then during varsity, like as an undergraduate, if you're studying law, whether it's BCom, LLB, or BA law, are there any specific modules they should focus on in order to become a successful legal practitioner? Or is it more broadly
No, I
based?
think it's a good question, and I think what you're studying, I think it's less so. I think if you still focus on the languages and the accounts, I think that will be sufficient. And whatever else grabs your fancy, something that's interesting, do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the core curriculum is
Is
pretty
what
much
the-
fixed
the
everywhere.
requisites.
So yeah.
Okay.
And that will give you the basic tools for whatever you need to do when you get your articles.
If you do become a legal practitioner,
Yeah,
if you want to go that way.
Yeah.
Speaking about articles now, so like what would you want in your candidate attorney? So what are the requirements?
Yeah.
I know I was one of your candidate attorneys, but
Yeah.
just
So you could tell me what I want.
that's the thing.
No.
I came into this interview. I know that you and our ban. It was during COVID, if I'm not
I think
mistaken.
I
It
think
was
we had
just
our masks on
when
and
the
everything.
ban was like, being lifted a bit, and
Yeah.
we had our masks on and everything, and I was sitting at this end. And but
Yeah.
the funny thing is, like before the interview, I was actually busy studying for my exams, and I was studying for a commercial law like exam at that
Okay.
time. And the question that you asked linked so closely because it was
stupid.
tenant and landlord. And I was like, oh, I know this out of my head.
Yeah.
And so I probably looked like so smart. So
You did
I don't
indeed.
know.
You did indeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's-
And that's why you got the position in the end. But no, I think for candidate attorneys, I think generally speaking, there's a couple of things. I think one is you need to understand, yes, you have a degree, but you don't know anything really. Okay?
Yeah.
And we've all been there. We all feel some days like, why
It's a
did
new
I study
ball
anything in the
game.
past 4 years?
Yeah.
So know that when you walk out of varsity, you don't really know a thing. You come into articles to learn. That's the big important thing. So for me, a candidate attorney has to be willing to learn, inquisitive in the sense of wanting to find out and to learn and to upskill themselves and to prepare. As I said earlier, you have 2 years and then you can open up your own firm. So get the skills. Yeah, and it actually goes very quick. If you look back,
It did.
Yeah.
Like looking back now, I'm like,
It's-
what How did that happen?
Yeah. No, so I think that's one of the important things is um, willing to learn, knowing that you're starting right at the bottom, and then also hardworking. I think you know the hours and the hours. Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, it differs from the larger firms and the smaller firms and those type of things. And I don't want to say that we slave drivers. I hope we're not. But no, I think, but I mean, law is hard work. If you want to be successful, you will have to work hard. You will have to put the hours in. And it starts with articles. You have to train yourself at that time already. So that's the third aspect, if I can call it that.
You have to be willing to sacrifice your time, essentially.
Yeah, I think
Inquisitorial. So it's inquisitorial.
yeah, willing
working
to
hard.
willing to learn, work hard, and I think understand that you're starting at the bottom. Don't walk in and think that you know everything.
Oh, yeah, it is a different generation we are having right now. So
Exactly,
I mean,
exactly that.
I know
Yeah.
there's a bit of a debate happening with
Yeah.
my time is my time.
Yeah, exactly, and I mean it's a very important discussion to have. The whole thing of work-life balance. And
Yeah.
when I say work hard, I probably sound old, which
But
I don't think
get
I
that,
am.
though, because you have to start somewhere,
Yeah.
and unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's going to be at the bottom.
Exactly that.
Um,
And it's not going to get easier or less. So I also at home have the discussions of am I working too hard, am I not working too hard, those sort of things. So I think it's a constant thing, and I think different for different people also, and you have different stages of your life. So I know many legal practitioners when the kids are like babies or so, they make sure that they at home on time and they can work 8 o'clock at night again for an hour or two, um, and or work early in the morning or whatever the case might be. But you have to put in the hours, and something I personally hate, and probably showing my age again, but is a clock watcher.
well,
Like,
we all know it because I have 22 years of
Yeah,
experience,
yeah.
so
Yeah, but I think with someone who's just literally the moment the clock strikes 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, the first car out of the driveway type of thing. So
unfortunately, that's not how it works. So
no,
I just needed you to confirm that as well. I mean, there were some nights that I used to stay till 9 p.m.
Yeah,
working on one case.
exactly
for the whole
that.
week.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And sometimes you really get to have to work hard on a matter.
Yeah.
Where you're in a trial and arbitration and you run a full day and you have to prepare for tomorrow. That's the way it goes. So yeah, that's what we need to do.
So that's like the qualities of a candidate when you're looking for. Do you look at the marks that they've obtained in high school and varsity?
For me, that's not necessarily a big thing. Some of the people, or let me say, for the first sifting as to who are we going to ask to come to an interview, I don't even look at the marks at all.
So how did you decide you could have the offer for an interview?
No. Flip a coin. No. I read through the CV, look at what the person has done, and is there some life experience?
Okay.
Have you done something outside of just academics? And
like a sport perhaps or
yeah.
extracurricular.
Or did you go to varsity and have a job at the same time?
Okay.
Because
I did that.
Exactly that. Yeah. So for me, those are the important things because you have to be able to juggle a couple of things once you start working. And you're working there, so you know that you need to have a couple of balls in the air and your eye on all of them at the same time.
Under the pressure.
Yeah. So if I can get someone in who already has some experience on it, that just makes the transition period that much easier. So that's normally the things I look for, is a bit of experience outside of just studying. If you did nothing else and you only studied, then I would expect marks like 80, 85, 90%, that type of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, if you did other things also, then as long as you didn't fail too many times, then
then it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting actually, because I thought the marks and that would always be a factor, but
Maybe I'm outlier in that regard, but that's the way I view it. So
we'll see. We'll see
Mm.
in the future of our other podcasts
Mm.
with other attorneys. But I think you have the experience and the knowledge, so I mean, you're probably right. It's probably
Yeah,
a lot of attorneys
debatable.
look like if you can balance it.
Yeah.
And then a topic that always comes up once you get the job,
Mm.
you become that candidate attorney. You study for 4 years, blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
What should you expect to earn as a candidate attorney?
Very little. I do that.
Very little.
So remember a couple of things. The one is, yes, you've studied 4 years, but now the hard work is really starting. Eh? Blood, sweat, and tears, like blood, sweat, and tears. Now the hard work really starts. Because now you have to work, you have to study bar exams, you have to pass the exams, and then working life starts once you're admitted, hopefully. So that's one aspect. Other aspect is, as I said earlier, you come in here to learn. So that's my primary duty, is to teach the candidate attorney. My primary obligation, not necessarily to give a big salary. Okay?
Yeah.
So I always say to the candidate attorneys, remember, you're starting at the bottom. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Okay? So don't be too concerned about the money. If you have different options where to go, obviously then you can look at the money, whichever is best, but also look at what they are going to offer you.
The exposure and
the exposure and so on, yeah. Because if you have very limited exposure, that's one thing, and that it might be good because it might be something that you love, but if you hate whatever that firm is doing, you're going to be stuck there probably for the best part of 2 years, unless you see the articles.
Which is a process in itself.
Which is difficult, and a process.
But the LPC has set a minimum wage.
Yeah, so there's now there's now a minimum wage. It differs between
rural and urban.
Urban and rural, and urban I think is 8,000 rand a month.
And rural is it not urban 8 and urban 10 and rural 8?
No, I think it's urban 8.
Urban 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and
that
I think
is the range they can expect for your medium and small size boutique law firms.
Yep. Yeah, the big law firms are here big figures, but
we don't know.
big hours also. That's but I know the minimum wage at this stage, and it came in this. I think it's starting now. It's starting December.
Yes.
So and it's 8,000.
8,000. Okay. And then. So you have your candidate attorney, you have started your own firm in 2009, so it's been in operation for many years now.
15 years.
15 years. What does your day-to-day life look like as the co-founder of this law firm? Do you have a secretary?
Yeah, so I have a secretary. I think we as I said earlier, we're 4 partners at this stage, 17 staff in total. Each of the attorneys has their own secretary, and bookkeeping staff, candidate attorneys, and so on. And I think there's no such thing as a typical day. That's what I love about my job. There's no typical day, but it depends in a big way. Sometimes there's lots and lots of drafting to do, and sometimes there's court appearances to do, and then there's a week with lots of court appearances or arbitrations or anything, and other weeks more sitting back at the office drafting. And I think the difficulty with when you're managing a firm is you have to do the work, write the fees so the income can come in. But on the other hand, you also need to spend time on actual management of the firm. Financial management, marketing, HR, all those sort of things. And that, I think, is sometimes a bit of a struggle.
As well, and time consuming.
And also with that IT management, and all, that also becomes obviously much more important these days.
Yes.
And I think that's also where having a team of partners help, because then we can shift the responsibilities a bit and divide it up. So one guy looks primarily at finance, for instance, or one does marketing, or whatever the case might be, depending on the skill sets. But you have to somewhere in between make time for all those things also. You have to check the debtors, you have to check the trust account, you have to market, you have to do all
I
those
always
things.
thought that one day I would be at the office before you. That was like my dream to like be at the office before my principal. And I think one night I was very early. I think it was like at 4:45 I was here, and I locked, like I opened, I had my keys in my hand. I'm like, I'm gonna be here before him. This is the day. And I got upstairs and it's like, no, the light is on, and you were here already. So is it the truth that you come in at 4 a.m.
Yeah,
every day?
but that's I think it's also something of a preference. So
To
some
start
people
at 4
work
a.m.
some people work late at night. I
Yeah.
don't want to work late at night. I had a discussion earlier this week with the council also about December period and January and working late, working early, those type of things. And when I started out, there was a Joburg advocate who said, you either get a Friday person or a Monday person. Some people will work until 10 o'clock at night on a Friday evening, but don't ask that person to be at the office 7 o'clock on a Monday morning.
Yeah, it's a personality type thing.
Yeah. And I'm that. Don't ask me to do difficult things
Friday
5 o'clock
night.
on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
My brain is just done. But I'll be at the office 4 o'clock on Monday morning. I'll be here and I'll start working very happily. So, and I think it's also whether you're a morning person or a night person.
Yes.
It's the same thing. So I'm in a routine. Works for me, my family. I'm back home by 5:30 normally in the afternoon, so I'm back home. So
Yeah, because you obviously want to spend time with the boys.
Yeah, my family, my wife, and everyone. So want to spend time with them.
Because you're a big family man, eh? I was.
Yeah. No, it's a privilege to have a family, and you need to make sure that you have time for them also.
I always wanted to know how you do it. Like for all of these years, studying, becoming a very successful legal practitioner, having a wife, the kids, but you wake up every day like with the same passion, grit, energy. Like where does your motivation, inspiration come from, and would you like give thanks to in that regard?
Yeah, so for me personally, it's my faith. I'm a Christian, and I believe that we are all given talents by God that we need to use. The parable of the slave with the talents in the New Testament. That the guy who got in trouble was the guy who didn't do anything with the gifts that he was given. So we need to use those gifts, not for my own purposes, but to help people around me. So and help people around me is very vague and it's a wide thing, but for me it's all about your calling. Afrikaans praat van jou roeping, né? I'm called to do this or to do that. And my calling is to be a lawyer and to make a difference where I'm placed. And using those talents and gifts that I have, I must make a difference where I'm placed. So, and I think once you have that perspective, it makes it a bit easier.
Yes, no, it does, because I look up so much to you in that regard, like to see you doing all of these things. I mean, but it's obvious that your faith also drives.
And I think if you don't have that type of thing, it will be very difficult.
And then outreaching attorney-client privileges, like, is there like an interesting case that you could tell us about that you did? Anything like that?
So there's a couple. I think all of the cases have their own nice things and so on, and some of them get quite big, and then you get tired. And now you dig into it, and it really consumes a lot of time, and it's like really interesting. And you get to the nitty-gritty of it. That's always nice. Some of them take years and years to complete.
Remind me after this to ask about a case.
I think we're thinking about the same one. But I mean, that was one of the interesting ones where the guy owed our clients a couple of times together 36 million.
Yes.
And yeah,
That was the
and,
case I
and
was
that,
on.
that was a big fight also on a couple of fronts, but that was an interesting one. Now, I think one or two of the interesting ones, and I think all of them have their own merit and their own interest, but I think one or two, and I was thinking before you came, looking through all the old list of matters just to jog my memory a bit. If I see a name and they're like, oh, yeah, that one, that was interesting. And I think there was one about 2015, 2016, thereabouts. So long before COVID, and at COVID time, we all had to relearn about interruption or temporary impossibility performance.
Yes.
When COVID started, and I spoke to an advocate about it, it's like, I've last looked at varsity for like 15, 20 years ago, and now I need to go and brush up, and we were all in that boat.
Yeah.
But prior to that, 2015, 2016, I had a matter where we issued summons against a non-paying tenant, and he then defended the matter, and he raised a defense to say that he was unable to pay because his bank account was frozen under the POCA, the Proceeds of Organised Crime Act. So there was a preservation order on his bank account that was still being sorted out, and because his bank account was frozen as preservation of organised crime, he couldn't pay the rental. So, and we had to go and argue that, and I argued it on the basis of temporary supervening impossibility, and that the impossibility was his own making. If he wasn't a criminal, then his bank account wouldn't have been frozen. Well, prima facie a criminal, but still, yes. His bank account wouldn't have been frozen, and he would have been able to pay the rental. And there's also the thing of absolute or relative impossibility, and it wasn't absolutely impossible because anyone else could still pay it. Not there's no bank anymore. Yeah. Anyone else could pay it.
Have another bank account somewhere.
Yeah. That was quite an interesting one, and interesting also because when I got the defense, I'm like, what do we do over here?
Did you end up winning the case or applying?
Yeah, we got judgment. Yeah, we got judgment. I can't recall whether we got all the money.
But you got.
We got the judgment at least. That was a good first step already.
That.
I think we got some. We got some money. Quite a.
You say you got the judgment. So what does it mean to win a case for you? When do you think, okay, you've done the best you can for your client?
So I think we're able to, for me personally, if I can give the client the result they wanted, then I feel like I've won the case. So I'll give you
an example. If the instructions are reasonable.
Yeah, but I mean, normally, okay, luckily with our types of clients, normally they are, and I will tell them right at the start, now listen, this is not going to fly, we're not going to do this, or I can't do this, or that type of thing. So, but I mean, in our practice, it's normally get the money in, get the tenant out, something to that effect, or get some type of an order. If we obtain that, then I feel that I've done the job. That's what the client asked me to do. And we got the result they wanted, and then I feel that I've won. On that topic, perhaps also, it's a good thing for the guy starting out to remember. Don't ever expect the client to say thank you. If they do, it's very nice, but don't expect it, because remember, they come to you, they give you a job to do. Once you've done it and they paid you, they don't have to say that.
Transactional relationship.
Yeah, they haven't. You haven't done anything more than what you should have done.
Yeah.
Same like when you go for a haircut, you don't necessarily say to the guy cutting the hair, thank you. Maybe you do, maybe you're nice, you do, but he just did what he did.
Yeah.
So even if I feel like, yes, I worked really hard and this was such a difficult case and I got this excellent result and I'm all pumped up and wow and happy about it, the client just got what they wanted. So they're not as excited.
You studied for it, 2 articles.
Yeah. So that sometimes when you start out, it's a bit of a letdown, but keep it in mind that you've just given them what they wanted. So
your focus, while the law firm does specialize in quite a few things, but I know it's also very focused on commercial law. So do you have any advice that you would give to a tenant and a landlord entering into a lease agreement? So just don't sign the lease agreement.
No, I think the important thing is know what you're getting into. So, in other words, read the agreement, and whether it's a lease agreement, whether it's a sale of shares, whether it's whatever type of agreement you enter into, know and understand what you're getting into, know what your obligations are and what you can expect of the other person, because that's most often where the issues come in and where the disputes lie, is that nobody, he said he's going to do this, but it's not in the contract.
Yeah.
And then with a non-variation clause, they don't have a leg to stand on. So make sure that you know what you need to do, what the other party needs to do, and then also that you don't overcommit, because it's no use me having a pie in the sky idea of I'm going to make $1 million a month, and then I can pay my rental of $500,000 for this very smart top floor penthouse suite office type of thing. And in the end, I only make 10,000 a month. And then I'm going to default on my lease or default on my overdraft and those type of things, and then I'm in big trouble.
So do research on the market as well.
Yeah. So know what you're getting into, don't overcommit. I personally, on those type of things, take a bit more of a cautious approach to make sure that I can do what I undertook to do.
Okay. And then besides being the co-founder of your own law firm, because like you said, it's a lot of time-consuming, time constraints. Do you have any other businesses that you invested in or started?
Yeah, I co-started Lexa, a legal tech startup. I'm a bit of a background role at this stage, but it's a tool to improve the communication between attorneys and their clients. So it gives clients access to the attorney's practice management system, so they can very nearly in real time see what the attorney is working on their matter. For clients, obviously, it's great. Many attorneys don't like it that much because they're scared of what the client might see. But for me, I think it's still.
We use it when I did my article here. I remember.
And I think it helps the attorney to give better service, because I know the client knows what's happening on the matter, so then I'm going to not let it lie for 5 months or 6 months or that type of thing. So so improve service and makes my life easier because the client can see what's happening. They don't have to phone me every now and again. That's a startup that I was that I'm still busy with, but very much on the I took a bit of a backseat the past year or so.
Okay. And then it was so lovely having you on Lawfully Speaking today, Ben. Before we leave and end the show, I just wanted to say thank you. I did forget your gift because I was supposed to give you a gift now, but I forgot it because of unforeseen circumstances. But if you just want to end off with like a quote that you live by that gets you through the day, what would it be? Yeah, something. If you don't, then it's okay because I don't have anything.
No, I don't really. No, I don't really have anything specific. Be a nice person.